So UFC China, Johnny Walker versus Zhang Mingyang was last night at 1 a.m. Yes, I did stay up for the entire card. I thought it started at 5 a.m. And I managed to have like a 3 hour nap. So I'm gonna go through this entire card. Had no idea this co-main event was a 5 round fight, even after the Ortega weight situation, which I'm gonna get to that fight. We're gonna get to the main event, and I'm gonna talk about going to China, what it means, and I need to be real about these prospects coming from China and their potential in the UFC. But we need to start off with Iran Sotibodiev winning in the first round by Ezekiel choke. Shout out Alexander Owenik. But Baldiev, he looked really good in the first round. He ended up dropping Nurkic, I believe, with a right, and basically went down. Nearly got submitted by Kimura. Then Iran found the Ezekiel choke. Really good win. Nurkic basically put himself in the worst position he could, but I mean, good win for Sati Baltiev. Yeah, really good way to open up a card. You love seeing it in his go choke. It's not something you see that often. Actually, we haven't seen a couple of them lately. But yeah. Then we move on to Su Young Yu versus Xiao Wang. Now, I picked Su Young Yu to win this fight. And I'm a big fan of him if you've been following the channel. Now, he found the jab early, he controlled range. Zhao had moments where, you know, he would rip off a good 1-2 combination. He would land some good shots to the body, but mainly, head hunting. What you did in this fight was he made Zhao overthink a lot, and I had Su Yu winning the first round. Round two was a much better round for Zhao. Um, when he was when they were purely striking, I think Zhao had the better moments. But when Su Yu put the threat of the takedown in, he was able to land some massive shots. And we did get some big trades late in the second round. But you again was tracking him and putting Zhao exactly where he wanted him to be. Um, Round three was a very ugly round. Zhao closed in for some good elbows. He got cut. I forgot what from. But it was 35 elbows in the last minute. But you wins by unanimous decision. That's 6 in a row for him, and I really like him. Like I said in my predictions, I think he's really marketable. I think he's really well rounded. Um, I want to see the finishing potential though, and you know, I feel I said that about Joshua Van a few fights ago. Now look at him; he knocked out what's his name in the third round. Why do you go out? Who himself was on a major knockout streak. Bruno Silva, right? I really like Su Young Yu. He needs power in his shot, so I think that's the one thing he's missing. Again, would have been better if he was able to land one of those takedowns at least, but I felt he was able to do what he needed to do in the first two rounds. And Zhao Long again put himself in danger majority of this fight. Um, but yeah, we then move on to Yiza versus Weston Wilson. Um, minus 1100 favorite coming into this fight. Now, Yiza, this wasn't close. Often the fight landed straight. Simpson was basically helpless from the beginning. After eating the same left straight over and over again, and Yiza pushes him against the cage, finishes him, and he basically just curls up in the ball. And yeah, 37 seconds, dominant performance. This guy, all I know about him is that he trains with Stephen Thompson. If I'm really being honest, um, but like it was a good win. It was a win that Yee's should have got, and two knockdowns. It's a really dominant performance. Really impressive. Now we move on to Kyle Dawkins tailing Michelle Pereira in the first round. This was electric, man. Kyle Dawkins came out and instantly tagged him with the right hook after finding the distance with a few jabs, and he ends up dropping him, range elbows, and finishes the fight. Now, this is a problem. Marc Goddard stops this fight, and Michelle Pereira immediately jumps up. These were some vicious strikes, man. I get that. You need to protect the fighter. But he was fighting his way out of it. And when you have a guy immediately jump up, dude, uh, this this isn't even my only gripe with Marc Goddard on this night alone. Um, but this is absolutely pitiful, dude. Um, and it robbed Dawkins of a more definitive win because he went on a massive run uh, since losing to, I believe, Eric Anders. And Marc Goddard actually robbed Kyle Dawkins. And he robbed Michelle Pereira too. Because I do think Michelle Pereira could at least recover from that exchange and had the potential of pulling guard and defending something. But um, first round knockout for Kyle Dawkins, impressive win. Robbed of an even more impressive performance. Screw you, Marc Goddard. We'll get to you more in a bit. Now we get back to Rung Zhu versus Austin Hubbard. Um, the speed was the big difference in this fight. Um, I watched the MMA Guru's reaction before recording this, and I completely agree with him with the fact like Austin Hubbard really is a standard fighter. Like you throw Austin Hubbard against a guy to see if they can compete at the UFC level or if they actually have something. Um, and Hubbard, not until late in the round, got any momentum. He landed a takedown late. But he had a better round two where he looked really good. He found his shots, and very focused. Water shots down the middle. Was able to mix it up and present some difficult situations for Rangju. For Rangju, still was competitive in that round. Round three, though, Rangju found out the adjustments that Austin Hubbard made, and Austin Hubbard ate a huge uppercut, and the problem was that Rangju had these moments where he would just freeze, and I felt like the finish at times, or at least potential to stun Austin Hubbard, was there for Rangju. But it would be like if those combinations and they would just stall. Um, but it was a good win. Well, at the end of the round, he tries to trade like Max Holloway in the last 10 seconds. What the problem is that anybody not Max Holloway ends up running away immediately as they start doing it. And oh my, the translator that they had. Now, this is not me attacking her personally. I don't know who she is. I'm assuming she's a very sweet woman. But dear God, she was so pitiful, dude. She had no idea what she was doing. She had absolutely no idea what she was saying, or where she was, in fact. But, yeah, and this is a good win for, um, Rangju. I think that, big win in his country beats a guy that really is detesting water for most fighters, mixed it up more. I mean, Austin Hubbard did do a good job with mixing it into the body and landing one of the good body kicks. But again, it's you know what you're gonna get with Austin Hubbard. Which again, being the standard at the UFC is a major compliment. But yeah, Charles Johnson. Moving on to him, the well, I mean, they said it in the announcing when they were announcing it. The prospect killer himself. I know Christian Rodriguez has that title, but man, KOing Joshua Van the way he did, and now, you know, a very similar fight to the Van friend, dude. Um, very fast very fast start for Warner Kavanaugh. Leg kick fest to start the fight, if I'm being honest. Um, Kavanaugh had a nice left hook that stunned Johnson. Kavanaugh was moving really well, I must say. And he was working how he usually does in his fights. Control distance, good left hook, right combo. Um, it was a really good round one for Warner Kavanaugh, which I expected. But this is the issue with a lot of these new prospects. And expect that when you're going in there against Charles Johnson. Kavanaugh hold guillotine in round two. And we all know what happens there, right? Put him in a bad position. Uh, Johnson landed some good elbows. Then they get back up. Johnson then started pushing the fight caught on to Kavanaugh's tendencies and responds to a left with a big right hook and knocks out Warner Kavanaugh. This is my issue with a lot of these prospects is I do not think the prospects they are bringing in now are able to jump in to this level immediately. And Charles Johnson is a guy that should be looking at ranked contenders. This guy should be like looking at, pushing into the top five. If I'm truly being honest. Like, let's I don't even know if the title open, but almost what gave me aha. Like let's where is he here? Charles Johnson. There he is, right? Like you go through his uh career recently. KO's Warner Kavanaugh. Loses to Tamina by unanimous decision. And his last fight, I like Tamina. I think he's really good, really well rounded, a lot of good power. Suma Derji, who had a really good win on this card. And again, this is the exact same thing with the Van fight, right? Where Van was ahead the first two rounds, well, in his case, and, you know, Charles Johnson is able to find the tendencies and find that big shot. I think Warner Kavanaugh will come back from this. This again. You look at what Joshua Van is going on to do right now. He's fighting for the title. Charles Johnson, man, he should have been looking at people higher up in the rankings. If I'm truly being honest. Yeah, really good win for Charles Johnson. How is he the underdog? That's what I don't get, man. Like, these odds in these fights make no sense to me anymore. Um, yeah. Then we move on to Gage Young versus Mahashate. Now, let's see, what do we got here? Mahashate had Young on the back foot mostly in the first round. Young dropped Mahashate with a decent combination. We got a low blow, and then Young got cut on the side of the eyebrow. Then got a takedown by Young late into the round. A trip by Mahashate, and then very late, at the end of round one, Mahashate tagged Young. No, I have it backwards. Early into round two, Mahashate tagged Gage Young pretty good. Nice close range hooks from Young. Each shot landed for Mahashate, but what I found was the difference in this fight was Gage Young was able to mix in the grappling, defend all of Mahashate's, and he was able to find those shots in close range that Mahashate couldn't. This is a really good performance from him, and yeah, I don't really have much else to say on that fight. Really good performance. We then move on to the main card. Naraji versus Kiefer Crosby. Naraji. Oh. So, Crosby immediately goes to a takedown. And Naraji ends up on the bottom after a bit of a scramble. Um, and or on top, I mean. God, my brain is not working. Cosby then defended some big shots. Then we had an illegal knee that stops the fight. Marc Goddard takes 2 points and restarts the fight. Naraji gets him down and just pummels him. What the hell was that? And the worst part is, crowd was cheering it. This ain't Pride Wars. I don't know why I said it like that. It's just in Pride. They need to give Keith Crosby one more shot simply because he chose to fight on. He could have took his way out. He should have. I would have. But again, the crowd was cheering it. But any other crowd would know how blatant that was. Like, it wasn't just that, like, he fouled them multiple times. It's the fact that, like, this is a whole other definition of a robbery. And the worst part is, if you take away the fouls in this fight, this is a really good performance for Naraji. But again, you cannot look past it. They once again, you give Keeper Cosby another shot after that bullshit. And for Naraji, he's a major favorite going into it, but with Aljo's, a couple moments ruined that fight. It really did. It was supposed to be a phenomenal performance, but yeah, multiple fouls and off of that. But we move on to Sumaderji versus Kevin Bourgeois. Sumaderji, he outclassed Kevin Bourgeois. There's no way around it. What a leg kick to the waist, 12 round in round one. Bourgeois shot against the fence. Sumaderji then got some high kicks in at the end of the round. The ref breaks it up 1 second into the round due to a minor eye rake. But yeah, round two though, Bourgeois did pick it up, and we got one cage holds, some slips from a right, but I gotta be honest, round two, round three, very lackluster. No urgency from Bourgeois and Sumaderji ends the round with a good combo. He leaves the cage for scarves, and he did like an odd bird call. Yeah, I don't know. He gave one of the scarves to Kevin Bourgeois. I don't fucking know, but yeah, it was. I gotta be honest. I wasn't that impressed. You look at the numbers. He outclassed Kevin Bourgeois. There's no way around it. But I mean, you look at what this guy did outside of the UFC, and he just has not been able to translate any of that. Like, can I, I mean, I hold up there. Like, can I, Sumaderji, right? So, you look at his UFC run, 2 5 win streak. You gotta give him credit for that. Well, lost to Charles Johnson, not a bad win. Tim Elliott, not a bad win. Match, not bad loss. I mean, I don't know what I'm saying, but I mean, the big thing was his time at WLF where he had all of these knockouts and that, but none of this down here has translated at the UFC level, and I think one. Oh, good one. Once again, this was a really impressive performance. But you gotta, like, this is MMA, right? You gotta compare everybody to the best of the best. But, Shuma Damage can be the best of the best. And I really hope he can bring what he used to have into the UFC. Because he could be an absolute machine. Um, both of them did go for takedowns. Kevin was did get a bit of control time, but it was mainly Struma Derji outclassing him. Really good win for him. But again, pretty lackluster. Now, Sergey Pavlovich, man, oh my. What are we going to see here? Tom Aspinall broke him. There were nothing but leg kicks to open the fight till Sergey got hit by a hook. We got a head clash, and Pavlovich is getting right counters, and Waldo Cortez Acosta. All heavyweights hit hard. I want to say that, but you don't see any scary power in Cortez Acosta. And all these finishes are by TKO mostly. But Pavlovich, the over right hand was landing at will for Pavlovich. He starts tagging Acosta with the right. These winging hooks down the spot, and we get a point down from Acosta, and the point down was absolutely pointless. Like, when you point down at somebody and then immediately run 2 seconds later, I mean, you look like a retard. There's no way around it, but what the fuck happened to Pavlovich, man? Like, we know what happened to him, obviously. But I mean, this is bad, man. Like, this guy was on an absolute tear. Again, like, we go back here. By the way, I like doing this. I probably will just do like this now. I like going back and forth between these websites. But, you look at, his run before Tom Aspinall, right? Blade's first down, Tuivasa first down, Derek Lewis first down, Shamil first down. Got TKO by Alistair Overeem in his first fight. Alistair Overeem is one of the most freak athletes and one of the greatest fighters ever compete. Again, I actually watched MMA on Point did a video on him the other day where they went through that wasn't it 2011 run where he won the Strikeforce title, he won the K1 Grand Prix, the K1 title. Dude, Alistair Overeem, that was force meat Reem, right? When he just absolutely demolished everyone, right? Obviously 2018, that wasn't the same that Alistair Overeem. But to Overeem's credit, he did stick around at the top of heavyweight, after, being Overeem. Dude, Ubering was so much fun. I don't care what you say about PEDs. PEDs make the sport fun. Um, that's a controversial take. Uh, yeah. So, let's get back to this fight though. Um, the biggest thing that I question with Sergey moving forward is the hesitation, and that's what I said leading into this fight, and many other people said. Um, and that's the part of heavyweight, right? That's the game you play at heavyweight, where anybody can put anybody up. Tom, Tom Aspinall, like, respect to him. I wish him the best, dude. And I would love to see Tom Aspinall put up like an 8 title defense and maybe 9, 10, 11. Maybe it goes for like Demetrius Johnson's record, right? I would love to see that. It's just not realistic at heavyweight, man. It's not. Like, when the UFC fleshes out this division, and let's say we bring in a Rico Verhoeven, we get Pereira in the division, we get, more people outside of the UFC. Maybe we get Anatoly Malakin for a bit. We can really flesh out this heavyweight division. And I think that Pavlovich could be among those names. Waldo Cortez Acosta, uh, we'll talk about it at a later date. But, he needs to go for it. He needs to get back to what he was, man. Which was an absolute machine. And, the difference in that Arsenal fight is Pavlovich catches him with a hook for Tom did. And we have Sergey Pavlovich as, the interim champion who John Jones ducks and then no one pushes about. And then, Pavlovich will be, promoted to the undisputed. You get the whole thing. Now, oh my god. So, first of all, where do we even begin here? I had no idea this was a 5 round fight. Like, you gotta remember, this was maybe like, what, 6 a.m. my time? And I was ready to go to bed, man. And, we'll get into the announcements. They got Joe Martinez in there. And it's like, and now for this 5 round co-main event, dude. Uh, why was it 5 rounds? Why was it 5 rounds? Now, there's no way around it. Aljamain Sterling's goal with Brian Ortega in this fight. Brian Ortega looked absolutely miserable. Consistently on the back foot. Really solid round on the feet for Sterling, round one. 23 strikes to 2. And, Aljo shredded the right leg. Herb Dean stopped it after Aljo punched Ortega in the eye. I, yeah, I guess. Ortega then got his jab landing, and this was just, dude, Aljamain Sterling really had no power at bantamweight, and he has no power at featherweight. But this is Aljamain Sterling basically going in there on like UFC 6, on like, your training mode, where your opponent literally doesn't move doesn't throw anything. Well, no, he did. But it was, the same jab over and over and over again. And then maybe he mixed it out to the body. Like, I loved the run that Brian Ortega went on. I'm not going to take away anything that this guy has accomplished in this sport, but he looked miserable. He looked awful at the weigh-ins. I do not get why they kept this a 3-round fight with how he looked in the weigh-ins and how he looked going into the fight. I think, you go up there as Dana White and you say, hey, no, we cannot have this be a 25-minute fight. Well, we gotta make it a 3-rounder right now. Like, it's. Arjun still got 3 takedowns, controlled him a bit, got to the back, tried getting his arm under the neck, but wasn't able to. This was. Again, you look at this fight on paper and you'd think it would be a banger grappling match and maybe we get, some fun exchanges. This was Aljo Sterling literally doing whatever he wanted to Ortega. But it's a good win for Aljo Sterling, man. Again, like one of the greatest bantamweights of all time. Gets a win over for a former title contender, former multiple time title contender, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, man, shredded his swag instantly. I thought Ortega was going to move up to 155, but then you look at that, Hallway went up there, Ilya went up there. But especially after that weigh-in and how it looked, there was no fucking shot. He fights at 145 again. That was, again, I'm trashing on him, but like I do like Ortega's run. I think he's a solid guy. He looked awful, you know, in the entire fight. But good one for Sterling. I mean, what's Sterling's record? I know he lost to Evloev, but yeah, Ortega did good against Evloev. Uh, did that grappling, big Calvin Cater. Lost to Sean O'Malley, but I mean, you know, he's putting together a really good resume. This win, you would think, puts him in the conversation to fight for the title. And Volkanovski versus Aljamain Sterling is an interesting fight. I do have to say, I favor Volkanovski. And I'm not saying this is going to be the next fight after Lerone Murphy, since that's the top one. Confirmed, I think, Lerone will get it, and then the winner of Diego and Silva will probably get it. The UFC are probably banking on Silva getting that one. It'd be insane too if Volk, can defend that belt. I know he said he wants to defend it at least one more time, but I want to see it knocked out. But it shouldn't have been 5 rounds whatsoever. And Ortega looked awful. Sterling, I don't know what you do with him moving forward. Again, you would think that he, one more fight, he is in the title conversation. But then we move on to Johnny Walker versus Zhang Mingyan. Now, I did not expect this, if I'm truly being honest. Now, Johnny Walker, we know what this guy is. Immediately starts the fight, shoots in within 4 seconds, fails a takedown. Zhang Yang is on top of him, and Walker, I have to give him credit, defended well from the back. Both did wobble each other in round one. Walker then had a nice combination which led into a big knee, and the right hand was landing for Zhang. Um, then we had in the second round, leg kick dropped Zhang Yang. Uh, Johnny Walker jumps on him and finishes the fight. This was a big, big win for Johnny Walker. Again, what was the odds on Ming Yang going into this fight? I forgot. They were. Yeah, he's a plus 500 man, and went in there, got it done the way that he did, and you know, this is my issue. I never had an issue with Johnny Walker whatsoever. I think he's a funny guy. I think he's really talented. I really think that UFC fucked him over. His initial run. I really do. I really fucking do. Because, again, they're so desperate to make their stars homegrown on the Contender Series. But you look at when they came in, you know, first round knockouts, War, ran into Corey Anderson, went on to win the Bellator Light Heavyweight Championship, starts to win the first round, lost to Krylov, beat Ryan Spann, who moved up to heavyweight, is doing somewhat decent in there, lost Diego Santos, Jamal Hill, and that Jamal Hill knockout loss was a big one. But ever since then, submitted Ian Kutalaba, submitted Paul Craig, beat Anthony Smith. I had no contest against Magomed Ankalaev. I forgot what that was about. Um, and then in the rematch, Magomed Ankalaev knocked him out. But he's the current champion. He got knocked out by Uzdemir in his last fight. But he rebounds with this, and you know, especially with his brother. I believe his brother's at heavyweight, right? And he had that submission win in his debut. Um, I like these stories, man, of these guys who, you know, you don't really look at, right? You overlook, and we all knew Zhang Mingyang coming into this fight, knockout machine. He himself has a history being chinned, but dude, that was major. Especially how that first one was going. Oh, oh, big. Uh, I don't know if I'm gonna burp. That's weird. Um, but yeah, it was that was big, man. I'm gonna have to do a full video on this main event in particular. But I mean, you know, the fight started the way he did, and you know, he had to climb his way back into this fight. We know the talent is there. It's the chin, right? It's, you know, can he be defensive? Can he take a shot? Um, and to call out Jan Blachowicz after the fight, I think that's a good fight for both of them, really. I think Jan Blachowicz is coming off of the loss to Carlos Goldberg, who I think Goldberg is fighting somebody soon, and he's looking to contend for the title pretty soon here. Um, and the best part is the translator had no fucking clue who Jan Blachowicz was. Only goes to show, how hardcore there. No, I get the Chinese market is major. Um, but I don't know, man. The whole energy of this crowd just felt off to me. Um, all in all, though, what do we have here? One, two, three, four, five, six finishes. Um, Su Young Yu did really good. Mong Ju worked really good. This was a really decent card. But my biggest problem is, where are the stars? Why aren't we going to the places that actually have stars developing? I get we want to take this place or take this sport everywhere, right? You know, but like, why aren't we focusing on like Australia? Like, I know with everything going on right now, maybe like a card in Russia or a card in Europe will be major. Europe will be even better because you can include everyone, right? I don't get it, man. And now, what do you have? You have Johnny Walker, who has always been good, who just took out one of your biggest prospects in this market for a card the majority of your fan base did not watch because a lot of the viewership, let's face it, is in North America. It's a really good win for Walker. But when you look at what this was to break into the Chinese market and that, it just showed the talent is not there. And when you're around the UFC level, even if you're a 500 fighter, like you look at Tim Elliott and what he did recently against Kaya Sakura, this is just a different level. And they do have this road to the UFC where they did try to pit one another against each other. But again, it's just, we're seeing time over time that this region does not have the stars that you need right now to break into the market the way that the UFC wants to. And I, as a UFC fan who does MMA content, I want the UFC to be in every market, but you have to do it strategically. Johnny Walker, man, he deserves a card. He deserves to be on that real card. I really think you throw him on that real card, get one more fight in for him, and you know, gave him a fight within the top 10. Nothing ridiculous. And we might be talking about one of the biggest comeback stories. We got Johnny Walker and Dominic Reyes in that same division making resurgence. Are we going back to the 2019 205 rankings? We'll have to see. Volkan Oezdemir is still out there, right? Is he even in the U.S.? Yeah, he is. Um, but those are my thoughts on the UFC China card. Again, I woke up. I'm going back to bed. I'm really tired, but let me know what did you think about this card down below. What fight stood out to you? Did you know that Aljamain Sterling versus Brian Ortega was a 5-round fight? I didn't. And I will talk more about these fights maybe tonight or later on in the week. But let me know what you think. Again, thank you for all the support lately. Later.